Hi, you guys. All right. Well, we are back here. I am using a new video recorder, so hopefully that this will work. I wanted to show you here how to start coloring on your iPad, or at least just get used to the Procreate app. Now, in my last video, I showed you guys how to get your coloring pages onto onto your computer, into your camera roll, so that you can put it into Procreate, right? So once it's there, what do you do? So I'm going to show you here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of the basics, okay? So the first thing that you need to know and get used to is your picture can squeeze and turn, just like anything else, but it's kind of cool because, you don't have to move the iPad. You move your fingers around, okay? Now, there's a couple things you need to know. I'm going to make this first tutorial really, really simple, okay? We're going to do this picture, this cute little piggy, and I'm going to have it available for you. If you're a Patreon, it'll be available for download. If not, it'll be on Etsy. And I'm also going to give you all the colors that we use for it, too, so you don't have to worry about that. And, okay, so the first thing that you see when you see your screen, okay, so you've got your picture right here, right? Then to keep it simple, if you look over here where your brushes are, these are all your brushes, and there are so many brushes that you can just, go crazy. I mean, they have brushes for every little thing, including the light ones, like how when you want to make a light behind a lantern or some glowing something or whatever. Stars or whatever. They have light pens. They have, you can do glitter. You could do, there's glitter, all different kinds of glitter brushes. There's brushes to do hair. There's, of course, your inking and your sketching, and you can have pastels. You can use oil. You can use I mean, there's just so much, okay? But to make this easy, all right, we're just going to keep this really, really simple. So here's where all your brushes are, okay? And the first one is the airbrushing, soft airbrush. That's the one I use, is this one right here. You can write on it, to test it out. I altered mine a little bit because I want it perfect for me. So you can also alter it for you. And once you play around with your brushes, you'll see how you can do that. But apparently that there's a way for me to be able to share my brushes. So the ones that I altered, I will put them on Etsy for you. That way you could just download them, okay? And then it'll work right on your app, the same as mine does. But you'll just have to play around with all the pencil stuff. That's something you're going to have to do and just have fun with when you get it. But the main thing is just keep it really, really easy. Just use the soft airbrush, okay? Now, this finger here is what I use all the time. And set the same things. Choose soft airbrush. There's many ways that you can blend, but just choose soft airbrush for now in this tutorial, okay? And then now this is the one where you're going to be doing shading and blending. And as we go through these projects, you're going to get more and more used to how it works, and we'll just learn. And you learn by doing, by practicing and doing and doing it yourself, hands-on, is how you're going to learn. That's how I did. Now, this one here is your eraser. Your eraser, do the same thing. Just set it as soft airbrush, and it's the same thing. When you erase, it's going to have the same, it's just going to all have the same feel. So, I'm trying to just keep it really, really easy for you. Okay? Then over here is your most important thing. These are your layers, okay? Now, when you first load your picture, you can see here, my first layer, you click this button and just hit reference right here. So you click this and hit reference. And then once you make this your reference layer, this means that all of this ink will stay exactly the way it is, and any colors will go over it. In other words, you can't ruin or mess with this ink layer. So that's why I name it reference, or just check the reference button, okay? That's how I figured it out. I mean, other people do it a million different ways, but it seems to work really well, and it's easy for me. So so as soon as you set your thing as reference, immediately get yourself another layer, And you get your layer by clicking this little plus button right there, okay? So you get the plus button. Now there's another little thing here. See this little where this M is? Usually it's an N, like this one here. See how this is an N? You can change this to multiply. Okay, right now I'm going to keep the reference layer as normal. But this second layer, change it right here by clicking the M and just click multiply. Okay, and what multiply means is so that when you put a color over your picture, let me do one like this. See how you could see the lines, you could see everything underneath. So if you didn't do that, let me show you what happens if you don't do that. So let's uncheck the M and make it normal. Okay, and then now let's color. Now see, when you color, it covers all the lines, and you don't want that. We want to be able to see the lines the lines underneath. And so watch, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go choose here, choose multiply, and watch. See how it instantly shows up. Okay, so that's what we want, and I'm gonna erase that with my handy little eraser. See that? I can also hit undo. Now, another thing you need to know about is these buttons over here. These ones are just, all this does is control the size of your brush. Like if you're working in a little teeny detail like that, you don't want a brush, that's this big. It's too big. You can't get anything in there. But if you want to make it smaller, then you can just make your brush smaller according to whatever size, and also, depending on how zoomed it's in too, because if it's, but when you're working in a small detailed area like that, you're going to want to have, you'll get used to it. You just play around with the sizes of the brushes, okay? And then this one down here is just your opacity. So in other words, if this is all the way up full like this, okay, when you color here, the color is going to be the full saturated color. But if you turn down this opacity level to here and you do the same thing, it's just lighter. So you can just control it. You can also, in some parts, control it with your own hand. Once you get used to the pencil, the airbrush itself has a way to where you can push harder and it'll be darker, just like a color pencil. If you push really, really hard like this, and then light it up, you can also just really lightly go and it'll be light. And if you want it harder, you can make it harder just by using your Apple Pen itself. Okay, so it's just something you're just gonna have to play around with. But we'll learn by doing this little piggy here. I think these are raspberries. Those look like little coconut cookies or something, and I'm not sure what I just picked one this was the one I was going to do next anyways, but I thought it looks easy enough to try to learn for the first one, and it's cute. So all right, so let's just kind of show you about ways how you actually do color. So over here where your palette is, okay, your palettes are all your colors. Now, when I first started, I went crazy, and I'm so used to Prismacolor, and I wanted every color to be just like Prismacolor. And so I did all the grays, I did all the yellows, and I did everything else. And the way I did it was I grabbed my Prismacolor chart, and then the chart wasn't accurate enough for me, so I went around. Like you can see, the chart was darker, but my actual pencil was this color. And by the way, when you want a color, you just put your finger down, and you could select any color you want, and it'll change your color, your palette, whatever you're using. Okay, so I did a lot of work on this palette, and I will be sharing it with you. Now, after using this so long, I don't really care if they're exact Prismacolors, unless I want to, there might be a reason, but either way, you can get it. I'll have it available for you, but we're not going to use that right now in this one. I'm going to show you just how to use the colors that are there. Now, I need to teach you about the palettes. Okay, so in these palettes here are where you choose your colors. Now, when you first start a new project, what you should do is you just click on this new add button right there, right? And so let's say I want to pick this light pink right here, and I want to put it for this base of this flower, okay? But I want to keep it in my palette. You just tap it. So now I can make an entire palette just for this picture, and then I'll be able to share it with you. And the way you do that, you just move it over to the left, and then you hit share, and then I'll be able to share it with you guys on Etsy. So the only way you can learn is just by doing it, because explaining it gets kind of crazy. So let me show you how you actually do color. There are a couple ways. If you take your color here, let's grab the pink, you tap it, you get your color, and you could just drag it, in other words, take it and just drop it in like this, see? And that'll give you your base coat. Now, let's say you think that this is too dark, okay, because maybe you like to start with a little bit lighter of a base. So you would click this, and at the bottom down here, you have a disc where you can choose your colors. You have a classic, which is the one I use, and you can change your values, which is kind of fun, and I'll show you about that later. And then, of course, your palette is here. So that's kind of how this little bottom works. I use the classic mode, and I'll tell you why. See right here where that pink is? Okay, so that gives me where it is, but I decided I want it a little lighter, so I'll just move it over here and maybe tap over there somewhere. So now if I tap over there, I can just go drag that in. Hold on. If you don't get it in the exact spot, it'll go wacky. So if I want to just drag it in and drop it in there, you see what I mean? Okay, now that is a short way, like if you want to just put in your base coat and you don't want to fill it in, okay? The other way, of course, is if you want to just do it your normal coloring way. So you just, like, remember how I taught you? You just make your base just like a colored pencil. You put your color in and then just flick it outwards like so, and then come around like the same way, just like you do with your colored pencils. It feels a little bit different at first, and you got to get used to the pressure, and you got to use this use these buttons to make it harder or softer, and you're just gonna have to play around with it. It's something you're just gonna have to get a feel of. But the main thing that I like to use, I use this technique a lot, of course, but this app makes it so easy by using this finger right here. I call it the finger. You use this finger, which is the same thing, soft airbrush. And what you do is you set the size of it just the same way as a brush, and you just blend. And look at that. It just blends so nicely. See that? So you kind of think of that as just like a blender, or if you're a Xantangulus, like your little cotton stump, or but more like a blender pencil, and it works really, really great. I use that like all the time. That's like my go-to tool. And then, like, let's say you want to put a white in here, so you would just go. Let's say you want to add a highlight, right? So then you just put your little highlight in the middle, right? And then if it's messy and you don't like it, you just take your blender and you could just blend that in and blend that in. And so I will show you how to do a flower here. Let's just do one. It's the only way you're going to learn. So let me just undo all this. Over here is your undo button, and it will undo every stroke by stroke. But in this case, for me, it's easier just to grab the eraser and just erase the whole thing. So that's another cool thing, because like if you don't like the color or you messed up, you can just erase it. And I don't know, I'm just having a real ball with it. I know it's not like coloring with real pencils, and nothing is like that, I know. But since I've been sick, I've had no choice. And I've had a lot of fun with this. I've had so much fun. It's great. I have two loves now, because I never thought I would ever like anything like this, but I do. All right, so let's just start, for example, let's choose a middle color for this. So let's say we want to choose kind of like a yellowy color. Let's do a goldenrod. We know this is goldenrod. I know this is goldenrod, but All right, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to color it in the regular way, okay? Now remember, I'm going to show you. There's two ways. So that's just if you colored it in by yourself, just like you were with the colored pencil. But you can also take it and just drop it in there, just like that. So it just depends on what you want to do. But usually for a base coat, if it's just a simple base coat, dropping it in just makes it easier, you know. And for me, the eye pen feels really good, smooth on the glass. I know it's not the same as paper, but once you feel the smoothness on the glass, it just is a really satisfying feeling. All right, so let's say we want to do a highlight, right? Now this is the reason I use this classic mode, is because you can see right here it's in this tone. This is where I call it goldenrod, but this is about where it is, right? But I want to add a highlight. So if I want to add a highlight, maybe I'll just move it over here a little bit. All right, if I move it over there, then I can just add a little highlight over here, right? And then if I want to blend it in a little smoother, I will just adjust my brush a little bit, and then I will just blend it in a little so it's nice and smooth, and you can get a nice little highlight. Now let's say you want more of a highlight. Just go up a little lighter, and then just add a little bit more of a highlight, like so. All right, and then you, again, with the blender, blend it just to smooth it all out. Blend it as you like it to be nice and smooth. I know you can't see my hand moving. As soon as I get better, I will film myself doing this so you can actually see my hand. But right now you can just only see the effect of itself, of the colors. But anyway, now if you put your finger here, you can see that you could select the color again. So let's say we want to add a little shading. So we're going to go here, do the same thing. Go in here and let's go get a darker color for shading. Let's say we want to use maybe something like that for shading. You just kind of pick, and then you just do the same thing. You put your shading in. All right. And then if it's messy and you don't like the way it's, you use your pen, get your little finger thing, and then just smooth it out. And it blends it all in for you really nicely. Isn't that cool? It's so light, and the way it just smooths on the glass, it's so cool. I mean, I'm used to real pencils, but I'm really loving this. I am really loving this. All right, so that's basically how you do it. Let's say you want a little white. Just grab a little white, and maybe you want to add a real bright little highlight there, and then you blend that in so that you've got a nice little highlight. Okay, and beautiful little highlight in the middle of there. Okay, I mean, we're not really working really hard on this. I'm just using this as a sample for you. This is going to be my first tutorial project, though, and I'm going to do the full one. But right now, just for this short video, I'm just going to get you started a little bit, and then I will upload this picture for you and all the colors after I complete the video. So be ready. Okay, anyway, so now I'm going to say, let's say we want to use that pink that we got, right, for that base coat. So let's do a flower here, okay? So let's say, I think that's too dark. I'm going to go for a lighter pink. So I'm going to switch the base coat. All right, so let's put a base coat in. Now, let's say I want to grab a pink color. Now, I'm just going to, let's do an electric flower the way I taught you. You just do the same thing. You know how you just take your pencil and you just bring the colors out, and then do some here at the tip. And then just bring it out. You don't really have to worry as being as perfect on here as you do with your colored pencils, because we have this cool blending tool. So now I will blend it a little bit. Make sure you get it a good size that you're comfortable with. And I'm just going to blend it in here a little bit. And I want the white to be a little bit whiter in the middle, so I will go grab my white, and then just take my brush again, and then I think I'll add a little bit more white in there. I want it a little bit brighter. All right, and just blend it. Softly blend here. And blend in there. Just make a nice blend. Okay, now let's hold our finger here so we can get that color again. All right, and then let's go back and get, you know how I always say it's light, medium, dark, and darkest, okay? So let's get another one. Let's grab a little darker shade right there. All right, now put it down here like this. Pop. See how I just popped it right there? That way your color will be here now. So anytime you need it, this is how I'm going to build up that palette for you guys. And this is how you build up your palettes. You just tap it. Like anytime you tap it, you just keep tapping it. You'll put the colors on. If you don't want it, you hit delete. Don't want it, hit delete, because we only need one. So I could just delete that. All right. So the only way to learn is just by doing it. And just keep following these tutorials, and you'll get better and better at it. And you'll start loving it like I do. So now let's take another color, and we're going to put a little darker in. Same way we do the flowers. Same exact way. I'm doing it really fast. I'm rushing because I'm not working on doing this one perfectly right now because this is just a tutorial, but I just want to give you a general idea here of how cool this is. And you just kind of play with it like that. Okay, now let's go and say we want to get a real good one here and just throw that in there. Get some real drastic at the bottom. All right. And then you can just blend it down. You can also push it and blend the colors around too. You just got to play around with the blending part of that. You just got something you got to get used to, just like when you're with your colored pencils, you know. It's the same exact way. It's something you just get used to. So let's say you wanted to do another petal. So you'd go over here, grab that color again, and drop it in. So you have your base coat. Okay, then get your next color, and then you would put that in. And then let's do the same tip here on this one. Just like this. All right. Okay, and then let's say I forgot to put that dark one in there, so let's just copy it with your finger, and you can select it so we have it, but put it down here so that you have it now in your palette, so you don't have to keep searching for it every time you need a new color. It's actually, this one is the one I want. I want the darkest one. So let me switch that with that, and then delete this one. I want the darker one. And you can also just hold it and move it. Hold it, and then, well, whatever. I'm still messing around with this too. Every now and then, you know, like with anything, it gets tricky. I'll just put it here and then delete this one. It's kind of like playing with little puzzles. All right, so then we're going to just grab this here, put that color in, do some shading. And then maybe do some blending. Blend it all together. Okay, and then let's maybe grab some white, and then maybe put some white in there for our nice little highlight. Again with our blender. Blend it up however much you want. Like I said, I'm not taking time on this one to make it like perfect or anything. So I just want to give you an idea of how it works. So see it already. Look at it. Already is looking so nice. And we barely have, I mean, it's just really easy. So let's click a lighter color again, and let's do another petal. So we just go like that. Then grab our second color. And then just lay it down, bring it out as far as you want to go. Start up here, and then just same flicking motion like we do with our colored pencils. It just feels a little bit different, but you'll get used to it. Might feel weird at first, but after a while, it's not. It's great. I actually really love it. I know a lot of people are mad at me because, Lisa, how could you go to digital? And it's not that I am going, it's just I have no choice because of, I'm in the hospital. I can't have all my pencil sharpener and all my pencils and my book and so on. This is like having every little thing you could possibly want right on your lap. So it makes it just really great. And it's comfortable, I'm in my bed and there's no mess. It's just awesome for me. And what's cool is that there's not, when I was out looking for someone that would teach how to do this, mainly there are people that are using it for comic books. This is really great for drawing, like where they start off from the very, very beginning, and from the actual sketch, which is what I do, when I draw my coloring pages for you guys. But we're just talking about just doing the coloring in the line art itself. And so no one does that. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making these coloring pictures for you guys, and then I'll make the color palettes. We'll do the tutorial, and then I'll have the color palettes for you, and you can have the colors and everything. Follow along and just learn. And then eventually you'll be able to take your own coloring book. You're coloring like Joanna Basford or whichever coloring book. Hannah Carlson is awesome. Whatever coloring book you like to use, Floria Bunda, it doesn't matter. And you just you'll be so good at it by then you won't need well, you'll always need me. Funny. All right, so see that, and you just keep going like that, and then you just do your blending. All right, so I think I'm going to cut this video short. I think you got the hang of it. So I am going to do the whole tutorial on this, and I will, like I say, I will upload Cute Little Piggy for you. And if you're a Patreon, you'll get it free on my Patreon. If not, it'll be on Etsy for, I think, $2. So you'll have that, and also you'll get all the colors. You'll get all the colors that I've used in it. So when you follow along, you'll have the palette exactly the way I'm going to show you, okay? Which is really cool. I mean, there's no one out there doing this, so I think that this is a great thing. And I don't know, maybe, not that, anything comes good from being as sick as I was. I had sepsis and was in ICU and almost died, so... but out of that came this. I would have never have known about this had I not have gotten sick. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise. I don't know, but because this is really cool and there's no one out there doing this, and it's great. And if you want to print it, you can print your picture out. It's the same way. It's really awesome. So it's just a matter of getting used to a little bit of something different. But so what? What's change is good, right? It's just something new to add to your repertoire in case maybe you're waiting at a restaurant and you want to color. You can always have your picture here and just take it with you, and you could just color it wherever you are or whatever. You're on a lunch break, you can color. I mean, it's just awesome, it's just, I don't know, I just love it. So all right, so I'm going to end the video here. And if there is anything that you guys have any questions about, you just get a hold of me and let me know, and I will try to do the best I can to teach you. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm still in bed, and there's times where I get really tired. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and start on the little piggy video for you guys. So I really thank you guys so much for your love and support, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Okay, and especially subscribe if you're new, and get the notifications in case I get something new out. Okay, all right, thank you guys so much. I love you. Until next time, ciao.